It's time for ROTD Weekend. I love being reminded that simple food is the best, and that happened to me this past week. We had our friend Ed over for dinner. Now, Ed listens to this show. Hi, Ed. So when I was shopping a couple days before he was coming over, I knew what I wanted to make. I was making beef short ribs in the Instant Pot with like a balsamic glaze and some pumpkin risotto. So I knew I was making those things, so I'd shopped for those, but I didn't shop for anything to have as an appetizer because I hadn't really had an idea yet, and I knew that we had other food at home that I could turn into something. And so I was looking at what was in the fridge, and I spotted both ricotta and a big bag of carrots. I had the ricotta because I've been testing that loaf pan lasagna for two, which is nearly finished and is so delicious. So I had extra ricotta and I had this big bag of carrots, and my first thought was something like we could dip carrots in ricotta, which of course did not sound appetizing, but led to the amazing idea that I had, which I do have to say, I think is one of the best appetizers that I've made in forever. So it was basically whipped ricotta. So I put the ricotta into a little food processor with a little bit of olive oil, salt, a garlic clove, and the zest of a lemon, and blended that up really, really well until it was like silky smooth. And I put that in a bowl, drizzled with olive oil and some smoked sea salt. And I don't know if there was anything else on top. I think that was it. Just olive oil and smoked sea. Oh, a grind of black pepper that was on there too. So that was the dip. And then the carrots I tossed with olive oil and thyme and salt. And I put those in the air fryer, just dried thyme and salt, olive oil, carrots into the air fryer until they were nice and caramelized on the outside, but not like super soft. And then I transferred the carrots to the plate that the bowl of dip was sitting on, and I drizzled them with honey, and I put out some crackers, and we dug in the carrots with a bit of honey and that caramelization, like a little charring almost, with that like creamy ricotta, nice and salty, garlicky, lemony. It was insane. I couldn't stop eating it. I kept saying, these carrots are so good. Who says that about carrots? But like, no, really, just so amazing. And I really loved it because it used things that I already had in the fridge, and because it really was just so simple. And I loved that reminder that simple is so often the best. And I'm going to say that the person I have learned this from the most, who uses it all the time, is my mom, Phyllis Pittman. It is my mom's birthday this week, and you already know that she is an amazing cook. And she can do all kinds of things, from the fanciest to the simplest, but she really is the best at taking just simple, humble ingredients and making them into something delicious. Like, people just rave about her Caesar salad dressing. They rave about just like her baked chicken breast. People go crazy. Like, even just the simplest of things. And so today, in honor of my mom's birthday, I am replaying a conversation that I had with her for this show, where she shares a very simple recipe that has a couple of little extra tweaks to it to make it extra delicious, which she is so good at. So let us listen to this conversation between me and my mom. Welcome to the show.
Oh, hi, Christy. Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
This is very exciting. So you listen to the show and you know that we do this surprise recipe. And so I asked you to come up with one, and I don't know what it is. So can you tell me, what recipe are you going to tell me about today?
I don't know if you'll be too excited about this one. It's creamy coleslaw.
That's so funny. I am not the hugest fan of coleslaw. I do like it sometimes, like with pulled pork, like in a sandwich or something, or tacos, but no, it is not my favorite thing. Why did you choose creamy coleslaw?
Because for years and years, I was making the one that Baba used to make with oil and the vinegar, lots of sugar. And it kept like for a long time, as long as the cabbage was in the brine. And I never really liked it, and Dad never ate it. And so the past couple of years, when we go out to eat, I've been trying these creamy coleslaws, and they're not bad. bad, and
Yeah.
cabbage is really good for you. And so I found one recipe online and it was okay, but I've been making this now for about, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. And it seems every time I make it, I've been tweaking it. And now I think I have it just right. So if
Oh,
you want to hear it,
I do
oh,
want to hear it. I'm
oh,
excited.
good.
Okay. What do you start with?
Okay, I start with to make things easy, you can use a bag of slaw mix, and that's around a 16-ounce bag. But if I have cabbage in the fridge,
Hmm.
I'll use cabbage instead. And the last time I made it a couple weeks ago, I had like 3/4 of a head of cabbage.
Hmm.
So I shredded that.
So you think 3/4 of a head of cabbage is about the right
It
amount
was
for this?
fine, yeah.
And if you're doing the bag often has like sometimes it has like little bits of carrot and stuff in there. Is that okay?
Mhm. That's perfect, yeah.
And then if you're gonna shred it yourself, do you like shred it on like a cheese grater or do you slice it or how do you do that?
I used to slice it by hand, like try to get as fine as I can.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm having some difficulties with my arm.
Mm-hmm.
I have a mandolin, so
Mm.
I use a mandolin, or I have another arm called Barry, and I get him to do it for me.
I love that. That's my dad, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea. But so you could just slice it with a knife and a cutting
Oh,
board.
for sure. As fine as you can.
And you cut it in half, take the core out, and then flat side down and slice?
Yes. And then if your slices are like 2 inches long, depending how big your cabbage is, I
Mhm.
just take a knife and cut through it so that it's not quite so long, so that it's nice on a fork.
I know you probably want to get on with the recipe, but I have lots of cabbage
No,
questions.
that's good. That's fine.
So you and I have been talking about cabbage rolls a lot lately because we just made a bunch for Christmas Eve, and I
Right.
always just use regular green cabbage, and you have discovered this other cabbage, the
Flathead cabbage.
flathead cabbage. You've been using that for cabbage rolls because
Mhm.
the leaves are nicer and bigger. Could you use that instead of regular green cabbage here? Have you tried that?
I haven't tried it. I think you probably could. It is crunchy, but I don't know if it's in the sauce, if it would get limp. I would have to try it and get back to you
Because the leaves are a
on
little
that.
bit softer and thinner. And then what about red cabbage or the Napa cabbage? Or do you think the green's going to be best?
Napa cabbage would be the same, probably texture as the flathead.
Hmm.
Red cabbage, definitely. You can add red cabbage, but if you add too much, your coleslaw turns pink.
Oh, right.
So you really don't want an excess of red.
So if you use all red, the color from the red cabbage leaches into the dressing and you
Oh
end
yeah,
up with pink
and
dressing.
it's not even a pretty pink. It's
Oh.
kind of a ugly pink.
Like Pepto-Bismol pink?
Maybe a little darker, but yeah, it's not pretty.
Okay, don't use red cabbage. We
I
got
only
it.
know this because when we did our dinner at the condo, I had a bunch of green cabbage and I had one head of red cabbage.
Mhm.
And I asked the girls to shred some red cabbage into the green, but they mistook me to say shred the whole thing and they mixed it without
Oh.
anybody looking, and it was not pretty.
Oh.
Yeah, but we ate it. It was good. It tasted fine.
It tasted fine. It just didn't look
Yeah.
good. Okay, well, that's great to know. Okay, so once you have your 16 ounces of shredded cabbage or 3/4 of a head sliced up, what do you do next?
Okay. So I put the cabbage in a larger bowl, and this recipe calls for 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. So I salt it right away.
Okay.
And it also has a sauce. So I put a measuring cup and I get 1 cup of mayonnaise,
Mhm.
a 1/4 cup of sugar, 2 tablespoons of vinegar, 1/8 of a teaspoon of pepper, 1.5 teaspoons of mustard, regular mustard.
Like yellow mustard?
Yes. 2 tablespoons of horseradish,
Oh.
about 1/4 of a cup of pickle juice if you have any dill pickles in the fridge, and 4 cloves of garlic. If you don't have garlic, you can take just some granulated garlic and sprinkle it over your cabbage before you mix everything in.
Okay, I have questions before we go further,
Okay.
of course. So you sprinkled the salt onto the cabbage, not into your dressing mixture. Do you think
Yeah.
that softens it?
I don't know what it does. I've read a lot of recipes that it's supposed to leach the water out, but it doesn't because it's just such a small amount.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But I do it anyways. You don't have to.
And
You
then
can mix all that in a measuring cup if you want to.
And then the horseradish, I've never ever thought of that in a dressing before. Was that one of the recipes that you saw that had that?
No, that was one of my tweaks.
I thought it
And
might
the
be.
pickle juice too, because I never put pickle juice in before either.
And okay, so horseradish, if people don't have pickle juice, they're going to need a different liquid. What could they use instead?
Yeah, actually, you don't need another liquid. It's fine. Like I say, like all these recipes never had liquid in, but this pickle juice just adds that little more bite to the coleslaw.
Oh, it sounds amazing. I want to try this. Okay, and then the 4 cloves of garlic peeled and minced, probably.
Yes.
And you mix that all together, and then
okay, that's all going into the measuring cup or whatever vessel you're using. And then I put about 3 medium-sized carrots. I peel them and I don't shred them. I put them in my food chopper so that they're little crunchy pieces instead of long strands. But you could do either. Like it works both ways. That's just how I like it.
No, that's a good idea.
So
a little bit of texture.
I mix the carrots in with the cabbage, and then once that's all turned around together, the cabbage and the carrots, then I just add the mixture, mix it up, and it's
and that's it. Would you serve it immediately, or do you refrigerate it for a little while first?
It's always better to leave it. I would always make it early in the morning or the day before, and it seems to stay crunchy for some reason. Like it's very refreshing because it's got the bite of the pickle juice and the horseradish, and I don't know, it just stays, even for a couple days, like 4 or 5 days, it's still on the crunchy side.
Well, that's really good to know. Does it leach any water out? Like, do you have to do anything after it's been in the fridge for a while?
It might get a little bit more runny. I just keep turning it over and mixing it before we use it. And if you wanted to, if you had more cabbage or if you had even some peppers or something, wanted to add it to it, it wouldn't hurt it at all.
This sounds delicious. I mean, you thought it was funny that you chose this recipe because I don't like coleslaw. I sometimes like creamy coleslaws. I've had them usually if they're really garlicky or have some like real flavor. And this sounds like it has real flavor. The horseradish.
Well, this one it is garlicky if you like garlic, and we do. And sometimes if you want a little more bite, you can add hot mustard instead of yellow mustard. It depends on your taste preference.
Yeah. Or like some green onion in there, maybe.
I top it with, like, before serving. I usually, like, if I'm putting it in a serving bowl for company, I'll put green onion on top then.
Okay.
But for me and Dad, if I don't have green onion, that's fine. I don't bother.
Yeah. That makes sense. And then
I don't put it in the mixture though, because a lot of times green onion will go slimy.
Yeah.
In a day or two.
So then if you were putting the green onion, if you're having people over and you put green onion on top and then there's leftovers after, would you scrape that green onion that's left off of it, or would you just stir it in at that point?
I would just leave it, but often there's no leftovers because I kind of portion out like what I think everybody will eat.
No, you're good at that.
There usually isn't.
Yeah. No, I mean, those of you listening, so you probably know, my mom had restaurants and then lots of catering, and the portioning and figuring out how much of anything that you need for a group is one of your like superpowers, right?
Well, I know a little bit. I wouldn't say it's a superpower, but I've done it enough times.
And can you tell me, what have you served this with? Like, if you're having people over for dinner, when do you say to yourself, oh, I need to make the coleslaw to have with that?
Ribs, for sure. Fish, if we're having a breaded kind of fish. Mike and Ange come over for dinner. They love coleslaw, so they'll have it with anything. And especially if I don't have, when they're coming, if I don't have a lot of salad greens and stuff, I always have cabbage because I always have a cabbage soup ready to make, or roasted cabbage. So I can whip up a coleslaw really fast. And so we serve it pretty much with whatever we're having, meat-wise.
That's actually interesting. I don't ever have cabbage in the fridge, but it is one of those things that keeps for a long time, right? And so if you need to add some vegetable to a soup or add something to a salad or make a quick side dish like this, if you have that head of cabbage, it's going to do really well, right?
Oh, yeah. And a lot of times, often I buy too many vegetables when I go grocery shopping. So I'll try to use up all the stuff that goes bad first, like broccoli, cauliflower, peppers and stuff. And so if I have that cabbage and we're low on veg, I can always slice it and roast it or make coleslaw. I always have carrots and celery, and I always have cabbage. So for me, it just works. And we really like it air fried now too. So
the cabbage, wait a minute.
Not the coleslaw, but the cabbage.
Wait, no, I know you only had to prepare one recipe for me today, but what do you do to air fry cabbage?
Oh, I slice it without the core. I take the core out. Then I'll cut it in half and slice it in pieces. I'll eat 2 pieces. Dad'll eat 1.
So
cover it with olive oil.
Wait. The slices are about how thick? Like an inch?
About inch, maybe a little bit bigger than an inch.
And then you're not breaking them up the way you would to do the shredded.
No, I try to keep it as tight as I can. Sometimes the leaves, the outer ones, break off. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I smother them in olive oil, salt, pepper, and garlic. Throw them in the air fryer, and they get all that crispy, good caramely stuff. How
long do they take about?
I don't really know. I do about 10 minutes, and then I'll gently flip it over and do it like I keep looking at it to see if it's the color that I want. So maybe about 15 minutes in total. I couldn't tell you for sure.
Have you ever?
It's something there's no recipe for me. I just do it.
Maybe I'll put it on the website. People love the air fry recipes. Have you ever? Now I just want to know. Have you ever tried leaving the core on it to help keep the leaves together, or you just don't want to deal with it?
I haven't, but you could.
Yeah.
You just would have to eat around it. I don't know if it would soften up enough for chewing. But core is tasty, even the raw ones.
Yeah, you like the cabbage?
It might turn out good. Oh, yeah. Cabbage core almost tastes like apples, sort of.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, so I have to try the core. I have to try this coleslaw recipe. I have to buy a head of cabbage regularly so I have one so that I can try air frying it or making coleslaw.
Yeah, if you like cabbage. I don't know if the kids would like cabbage or not.
Oh,
they like cabbage rolls now.
They like cabbage rolls now. They might. If it's really like flavorful and garlicky, they've become a little bit more interested in trying foods lately. So maybe.
And you know what? Sometimes, Christy, if I have cabbage, I'll just slice it and put it in chop it and put it in a pot with a lot of butter and just kind of braise it in butter and then add some caraway because we like caraway.
I love caraway.
And salt and pepper and garlic. And it's delicious like that too.
That sounds amazing. Yeah. I used to make red cabbage a long time ago, but I didn't like the tangy red cabbage as much. I think you like that. I think I would like the butter braised with just the savory flavors.
Very good.
Yeah. Does that get brown or is it mostly just getting soft?
No, you don't want to brown it. You're just keeping it on low to braise that butter right into the cabbage, and it's really tasty.
Okay, well, we just got 3 recipes for the price of 1. Thank you so much for being on the show, Mom. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. It's fun. Enjoy the coleslaw if you make it.
Oh, I will.
Okay, bye.
Bye. I'm telling you, the simple things are the best. My mom is so good at it. I love that coleslaw recipe. And actually, since she first told us about it on this show, I have since put that recipe on to Cook the Story, and it's been on social media and has gotten quite a bit of attention. So I will definitely link to that recipe for you. And I want to say happy birthday, Mom. Thank you so much for talking with me. I always love that. Okay, and now what is going on in my cooking world this week? You know, what I should do is test and photograph that recipe for the ricotta dip and the carrots. That might happen at some point, but it is not what is in the plan. In the plan for this week, I am doing some testing of baked barbecue drumsticks. I am trying to figure out if it is best to put the barbecue sauce on right from the beginning or towards the end, and if seasonings that you put on there even come through once that barbecue sauce is on there. So those are the tests that I'm doing. And I'm also testing, well, now I can't remember if I've told you about this or not because I have started this and been doing it for a while, but I am testing whether or not it matters that you poke holes in sausages before cooking them or not. I've gotten some pushback online from people when I poke the sausages for the air fryer sausage recipe, which I will link to in the show notes because those air fryer sausages are the best way to cook sausages. But anyhow, I poke them before before I put them into the air fryer, and people complain and say that it's wrong. And I actually don't know. That's just always what I have been taught to do or saw people do, or I don't know. Did I learn that from you, Mom? I don't know, but it's what I always did, and I never thought twice about it. But people were very upset about it leaking all the juiciness out of the sausages. And so I have been testing to see whether it is true. Does all the liquid leak out, or would it leak out anyways? Does the sausage burst if you don't poke it? I am testing that in a variety of different ways. So that is continuing this week. I think that is all that I have planned for the testing in the kitchen, although that is just two things that possibly does leave room for the ricotta and carrots. If I do it, I will let you know. Okay, as to what is going live on the websites this week, I have a new recipe on each one. One is for blackened salmon. I love this. You could use a homemade blackening spice, or you can buy one, and it just is perfect. It's done first on the stove top and then finished in the oven, so it gets nice and dark but doesn't get burnt. Lovely. That is going live on Cook the Story. And then I have an air fryer orange chicken recipe that is so delicious. And what you do is you salt the chicken first, like little bite-sized piece of chicken, for like 10 minutes. And I'm telling you, it starts to tenderize them. And then they're tossed with cornstarch and they go into the air fryer. And then you make this really quick, easy orange sauce in the microwave or in a little saucepan. And then you mix the two together and bam, it's so good. Put it on rice and you're going to love that. So that is going live on the Cookful on Monday. Stay tuned for that one. And I will be telling you about at least one of those this week. So stay tuned for that as well. If you want to make sure you hear it, make sure you are subscribed to this podcast. Go to cookthestory.com/ROTD and you will see the buttons there across the top. If you're on your phone, you tap on those. It is Spotify or Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music. You tap on those and you can subscribe or follow the podcast there, or go to your favorite podcast app and search for Recipe of the Day. You will find me that way also. I want to say a happy birthday and big thank you to my mom, and thank you to you for listening. I'm Christine Pittman from cookthestory.com, thecookful.com, the all-new chicken cookbook, and from this podcast, Recipe of the Day. I hope you have a great weekend. Let's get cooking.